Welcome back to the Success Catalyst. Today, I have a distinguished guest with us, someone who has spent a lifetime exploring the depths of leadership and imparting his wisdom to others. Joining us is Paul B. Thornton, an accomplished expert in leadership principles and concepts. With an impressive career spanning over 40 years, Paul has dedicated 2 decades to the corporate world, focusing on human resources and leadership development. He also enriched the minds of students and professionals as a college professor, coach, and speaker for another 20 years. Paul's leadership insights extend beyond his professional life. He has applied these principles as a parent and grandparent to 2 adult children and 5 grandsons. Paul is a prolific writer, having authored over 100 articles and 23 books on various aspects of management and leadership. His extensive experience and profound understanding make him a compelling voice in the field of leadership. I am so happy to dive into his journey today and glean valuable lessons on what makes a great leader. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you, Nina. I appreciate you having me.
I'm really happy to have you today, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot, and so are our listeners today. So let's start with the beginning. What sparked your initial interest in the field of leadership, and how has your understanding of it evolved over the years?
That's a great question. When I was in high school, I was playing on the high school hockey team, and my team was always kind of in the middle of the pack. You know, we were never the top one or two teams. We were kind of always fourth or fifth in the standings. And it got me wondering, why is that? Is it the players? Is it the coach? What's going on? I thought that the players we had on our team were as good as anyone else. So I concluded there had to be something that the coaches were doing on the top teams that was different than my coach was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And incidentally, the top one or two teams were the same two teams every year. So it made me think that these coaches are exceptional and they're doing something unique. So anyway, that kind of got me interested in what do top coaches, top leaders, top teachers, what do they do differently than everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Then I went off to college and I had a great professor who had a leadership model that was very simple and clear. And it really struck home with me or hit home with me. And that further stimulated my interest in leadership. And it just got me motivated to learn as much as I could about being a leader, being effective. What does it take? What are the different views on it? And that's been my, passion and career focus for the past 40 years. So that's kind of the story.
Wow. You have already had like such observational skills to detect as a teenager that, hey, this is probably leadership skills. It's not really about how good are the players. It's really about what's something special or something different that the other coaches were doing that was not.
Yeah, I knew something was different, and I could have concluded, I guess, well, maybe the players aren't as good, but I didn't want to go there. So I naturally, I guess, went to the direction of what are these coaches doing differently?
Yeah. So now can you share with us some of the key areas of research that you've explored in the area of leadership, and what insights have you uncovered so far?
Okay. I've in the course of my career, I've interviewed a lot of leaders, probably 300 plus.
Wow.
And one of the things I've always asked anyone I've interviewed is, what do you do to bring out the best in people?
Mhm.
What's your technique? What's your approach? So I've learned a lot that way. I was involved in management assessment centers. That was where a group of, say, 8 or 10 applicants would be going through a set of exercises, and there'd be 2 or 3 observers, myself being one of the observers. We
Mhm.
would watch and critique what they did or didn't do and evaluate their leadership effectiveness. So that gave me a lot of insights into what, worked, what didn't work, what the best candidates did, that type of thing. And I've also attended a lot of conferences and seminars and workshops, listening to other experts comment on the research that they've done studying leadership. So I've done a lot of different things to understand or get a fuller grasp of what leaders do. And it's a
Mhm.
complex field. There's a lot of theories, there's a lot of models, there's a lot of different definitions of leadership. So it's quite broad. But I try to simplify it and boil it down to a few, basic things.
All right. Well, I want to know what these things are. So, what common characteristics do you believe are shared by all effective leaders?
Well, I think I've learned that all leaders, I think, have three characteristics. Number one, they all have a set of core beliefs and values that they have thought long and hard about. They firmly believe in them, and those, beliefs and values guide their behavior. So they have a strong foundation, if you will. They know what they stand for.
Mm-hmm.
They're clear on their beliefs and values. Number two, I think all leaders want to improve the status quo. They want to make things better, right? They want to improve the operation. They want to be more successful. They want to help people be more successful. And number three, I think they follow a process to make that happen. So those are kind of three things that stand out to me that all leaders do.
So they know what they want. They want other people to be successful as well, and they have a plan to make that happen.
Yep. They
All
go
right.
through a process to make it happen. Yep.
Perfect. So simple, and yet I guess people just are doing things differently, and each in their same way. Sometimes trying to invent another way, another style of leadership, but it's so simple and yeah, yet not that easy to implement, I guess. Um,
Well, I think a lot of things in life are simple, but applying them and making it work successfully is always challenging. So I
that-
think that's part of the challenge. And with leaders, you're trying to influence and inspire people to make positive changes,
Mhm.
to achieve their potential, to be all that they can be. You've heard those types of things before. Inspiring people to change is not easy.
Yep.
A lot of us, you're in your comfort zone, you have a certain way you like to do things. A leader has to really be convincing and inspiring and persuasive to get people to buy into the plan and the goal and the changes that he or she sees are necessary to achieve that goal. So it is simple, but applying it and making it work is always, always, always challenging.
Yeah, I guess yeah, there's something you said that's very valuable, and that is to make people really see your vision and buy into it.
Mm,
Because otherwise your followers, your employees, your team, your whatever kind of people you're leading towards that goal will not really be that involved. And
mhm,
if they're like half and half, they will not really do their best, and nobody's going to evolve in the meantime. And I guess the objective of setting up a goal for the team, for the company, for the business is that everybody grows, trying
mm,
to do that thing. So
yep.
if the vision isn't clear enough for everybody to understand the end goal and the growth opportunity that would come with that, I don't think people are going to really understand what they're doing and not really get involved enough to succeed and to see the goal succeed as a team.
I agree. If they don't if they're not excited about the goal, if they don't see the benefits of the goal, um, they're ho hum and they're not committed and they're not buying into it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. This weekend, I was with my grandson, who's 12 years old, and he's got some interest in basketball and he put some effort into it and what have you. And his father wants him to be a lot more motivated and do a lot more, practice and exercise and what have you. So I spent some time with him alone, and I basically asked him the question is, what is your goal?
Mhm.
What do you want to achieve with basketball? Do you want to play on the high school team? And he kind of said, yeah, I do. I want to play in the high school team. And he was kind of excited about that. Then the next question was, okay, if that is your goal, working backwards, what do you think you need to do to achieve that goal? How
Mhm.
much practice? What type of conditioning do you have to get into? What steps do you need to take, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, getting clarity on the goal, getting people to buy in, getting them to articulate their goal. What do they want to achieve? And then helping them. I mean, that's what I think a coach spends a lot of time doing is helping them figure out the plan or roadmap to achieve that goal.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Having more visibility, even at such a young age, is crucial to really achieve anything we want. First of all, we
Mhm.
have to set up the goal, and second, we have to come up with a plan and really stay clear with that vision in mind.
Mhm.
So, are there any qualities or actions that define an effective leader?
Well, I have a couple of different models. One of them, I talk about leadership styles, and I describe three very simple styles that I think all leaders use: directing, discussing, and delegating.
Mhm.
And I think parents, teachers, coaches, leaders, managers, team leaders, they all use these three styles all the time, every day.
Mhm.
And directing is what it says. You tell the person what to do, how to do it, when to have it done by. If a person's never done a task before, they're total novice, they've never tried it, they need direction and they want direction. And giving them direction, really, they learn to listen, they learn to ask questions, they learn to um, follow directions and get the task done. And of
Mhm.
course, that's what makes a parent or a leader happy, and they reinforce that behavior. Good job, you did exactly what I wanted you to do. Um, Now, if a person has some experience and some know-how, a discussing style is probably more appropriate. Asking them questions to get their thoughts, their ideas, their input into the goal, the plan, the obstacles, those types of things is important to see how they're thinking.
Mhm.
And when you use a discussing style, people are learning to think, because you, the leader, are asking them questions.
Mhm.
And they're also learning to, collaborate if you're working with a team, build on the ideas of others. They're also learning that discussion is good, but at some point you got to make a decision. You can discuss things for months and years, but at some point you got to decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So that approach helps develop the person and helps them commit to or be more committed, I guess, to the goal and plan that finally is decided upon. And then the third one is delegating. Delegating is the person knows how to do the task, they've done it before, they're talented, they have the skills and knowledge. They don't need you, the leader, telling them what to do or how to do it. They don't need to discuss it. They know what to do. It's really just a matter of empowering them to go and get it done, maybe giving them a deadline to have it done by, but let them have at it. So each style is appropriate in certain situations, and leaders need to be adaptable and flexible and use a style that's going to help the person. I mean, that's the goal of the leader, to help the person be successful. So what can I do? What style should I use? What should be my approach be? Problems occur when leaders use an inappropriate style.
Mhm.
If a person's got a lot of experience and you start micromanaging him or her, and telling him you do this, do this, do this, and you're questioning everything, that is going to demotivate them big time. So use a style again that fits the needs of what the person needs to be successful. So that's one model I've taught a lot and discussed a lot, and I think it's very practical and useful. And I think if leaders keep that in mind, they can be more effective in carrying out their job.
And sometimes within one team, there are different people to lead in a different way. Like you can use the three styles within the same team because some people
Yes.
want to be managed, some people want to be heard. They want to discuss
Mhm.
something. They have a great idea that they want to share, and then that great idea they want to see it happen.
Mhm.
So we've all been to endless meetings where we share great ideas and initiatives, and then eventually we're just going to be repeating ourselves without anybody really paying attention and taking us seriously. And some
Mhm.
other people just know exactly what they're doing, and they don't need to be micromanaged. That will
Mhm.
motivate them, as you said. I
Mhm.
remember my last corporate job, I had a team of 30 people. Some were project managers, some were consultants, some were interns. And yet still, some interns really were good at getting delegated tasks. They were really good and independent. So it's really
Mhm.
not about the amount of experience. It's just about the type of personality the person has. And
Mhm.
maybe in their previous experiences, they were successful doing things in a certain way. So I had to always discover what this person is about, what their style was about, and then eventually adjust my leadership style depending on that. And that worked perfectly. Everyone was
Mhm.
just like evolving in a great way, and everyone was happy. So I totally agree with that, that leadership also requires flexibility. And it's not just, I'm going to decide that my style is going to be delegating. I'm only going to do that, and I'm only going to hire people that know exactly what to do. But then I'll be missing out if some other people are not sure how to do things, but they have great ideas, or they have really great intention and like great skills, and they can do things that just don't know exactly what's the process. So it
Mhm.
really has to have to stay flexible in that terms.
Mhm.
Um, so what are you currently working on that you would like to share with our audience, Paul?
Well, I enjoy writing. It's kind of a hobby, and leadership is my passion. So I am currently working on a new book, and I am involving my five grandsons.
Okay.
I'm getting their thoughts and ideas on various leadership topics. Their ages range from 9 to 17, and they're on baseball teams and hockey teams, and they have teachers in school and their parents and what have you. So I'm questioning them on their thoughts and ideas on what makes an effective leader and what does not. And have they ever stepped up and took on a leadership role, and what happened? What were the results? What did they learn from it? Things like that. So it's been an interesting project so far. I'm about halfway through the topics I want to cover with them, as well as interviewing some other people as well.
Mhm.
Um, 2 days ago, I interviewed an artist
Okay.
who I asked her to, discuss how is an artist a leader, and what do they do that connects to some of the leadership principles that I was discussing. So that was kind of an interesting angle.
Yeah.
I like to interview people who are in different professions to see how they think about their role and what they do that makes them a leader. Another person I interviewed was the fire chief in my town.
Mhm.
He runs the department, and he's got maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 people. But again, getting his views on when does he use the directing style or discussing or delegating, and what are the circumstances around that. And one thing he pointed out, obviously, in an emergency situation, you use a directing style.
Mhm.
You don't have time to have a big meeting and get people's inputs and ideas when the house is on fire and it's burning down, So directing is appropriate. Telling people quickly what to do, how to do it, not even how to do it, but just what to do maybe, is the style he uses. So anyway, interviewing different people gives me new insights into this whole topic. And as I said earlier on, it's a broad topic. There's a lot of different points of view on it. There's a lot of different models and concepts related to it. But anyway, that's what I'm working on now.
That sounds brilliant. I'm really excited about this new book, and I would love to hear more about it. And I would
Mhm.
love to share with our listeners how they can find your books and stay updated on your latest thoughts and writings. So can
Okay, I appreciate that, Nina. I have published, as you mentioned earlier, written and published a number of books, and all of my books are short to the point. They're maybe 50, 60 pages. They're not long. You can read them in an hour. Again, I'm trying to simplify what leaders need to do. My books are all available on Amazon.com. They're very inexpensive also. They cost like $3.99 to $5.99, so that you're not going broke buying one of my books. So anyway, they're available on Amazon. I also am very active on LinkedIn. I try to publish something there on leadership once or twice, 3 times a week. So I try to put my latest thoughts and ideas down there. And I also have um, a Facebook account. I'm active there, but I don't publish too much on leadership in that one. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, and that's my that's where I'm available, I guess.
That's perfect. Well, I'll make sure to add all your links in the description of this episode for our listeners to connect with you and know more about your works. This has been a great pleasure, Paul. I learned so much today from you, and I really cannot wait to read your books and discover more of your works. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Nina, for having me. I enjoyed it and love talking about leadership. So anytime you need a guest on leadership, keep me in mind.
Oh, that's perfect.
Thank you.
All right, I'll do that. And to our listeners, this was Nina Robert, and this is the Success Catalyst podcast. We'll see you again in the next episode.